Tonight we have a party and there's about, what, 100 people?
120 people.
You'd be amazed how many people freak out about meatballs. It used to be like a barbaric thing, but now meatballs are in. There's books coming out, there's restaurants, there's a meatball shop down the street, and meatballs are still one of the best things you'll ever eat.
A lot of options with meatballs.
A lot of options. You got your meat and it's in a ball form. Men like
that's
meatballs,
all we know.
cojones.
No, but there are a lot of options, and today we're going to show you one of our options that goes over really well with the folk in New York.
All you do is you take some beef. This is the 80-20, so it's got nice and fatty. Take some of the beef, put it in there. We also have pork. The cool thing about pork is because it does have a lot of fat in it, it helps the meatball not dry out. And not only that, but it helps keep the meatball hard. It's almost gonna have a little bit of a sausage-like thing.
And when you're cooking for a lot of people, you're doing big events, the last thing you want is dried meat. So pork is almost like your safety factor.
Nobody likes shrivelly, dried up balls. Just nobody.
Get those out of here.
All right, so Mike's gonna throw in some dill. Got a little bit of garlic in my wine glass here. You can put in whatever you want, but do not put salt into your meat because it's gonna suck out all the flavor. Throw that dill in, monsieur. Woo. Beautiful. Hit it with just a little bit of oil. Okay. So pepper goes inside. A little bit of this stuff too. This hot pepper stuff.
You sure? If someone chomps in,
just a tiny bit. Just a
all right. So always trying to screw
You don't
people.
need to, but I like to put flavor in my balls. My balls are on fire! Great balls of fire, okay. So the only thing you don't want to put in here is salt. If you put in salt, which most people do, you're going to draw out the flavor. The salt's going to go in at the end. And the only other important thing to remember is don't mash up your balls. Who likes mashed balls?
You just be gentle. Use your gentle hands.
Break it up, yeah. It's because that way it's not going to get tough and all weird. All right, now a lot of people think you need to put breadcrumbs and eggs in your balls. You do not need that shit, just fresh meat. We are smoking. Oh yeah.
Jesus.
Cool, so now that I've got my balls, you can make them any size you want, but if you're doing a party and they're too small, they're gonna dry out. Trying to reheat big balls is a lot easier than small balls, and who wants small balls? So all I do is take it in my hand, and I formed it so quick, I'm not pushing it around too much, I'm kind of tossing it back and forth a little bit.
You're not gonna... That's too big of a ball. Come on.
Too big of a ball?
Yeah, it's a party.
Mike's got balls like this, so I don't know.
Listen.
Right.
Josh.
Right,
Josh thinks people are gonna be throwing in the. No one wants to bite into a large ball.
Now your balls are gonna get a little bit smaller when they cook, so something like that. It's pretty good,
I still think if I were to make a ball, it would be this size. You can still reheat that. It's gonna shrink a little, but
that's too small.
The bite size. That's
too small.
the appetizer.
But this will become bite size.
No, not
that's a little too small.
All right.
How about this? Here.
We'll meet in the middle.
Here you go. We're meeting right in the middle. Somewhere between my balls and Mike's balls, we have a perfectly sized ball. Now, once you form your balls, you get your pan, get it nice and hot, and then you just sprinkle salt all around the edges. And the salt, this way, you're still going to get a nice crispiness to it. Crispy, crunchy, gloriousness. But it's not going to be inside sucking out all the juices. So you bite in and you'll just get pure, delicious meat. So just a tiny bit of oil. Take the tongs. Tong. So what I'm doing now is I'm just searing these. I'm going to get that nice crispiness around the meatball. And then I can throw some sauce in there. And then so what that's going to do is it's going to build up the flavor in the sauce. It's going to cook with the balls. And it's going to cook it all the way through. Because if you're just trying to cook these like this on high heat, you're going to dry them out. So once you get them high and nice and crispy, turn the heat down, put in a little bit of sauce, any sauce you want. I just made a quick barbecue sauce. Got this huge vat of it. This is like 60 pounds of barbecue sauce.
That's 100-person party size vat.
Yeah, but you can use anything, squeeze some sauce in there. Even a little stock would be great. Worst case, water, but don't use water unless you really have to.
Some sort of liquid to keep them from drying out.
All right, so these guys are searing nice and crispy on one side. Just gonna give them flip. You kind of move them around. They're balls. They're not two sides. They're not burgers. So you might, be cooking them on a couple sides. But the great thing about meatballs is that you can make them ahead of time. You can freeze them. You can make them and keep them on really low in like a slow cooker, or you can pop them back in the oven. And you're gonna have a lot of food. Meatballs are filling. There's always a guy waiting, when you're coming out to serve the food, and he's always right there waiting for it. The thing about the meatballs is they're meaty and they're filling. So you have a couple and you feel like, hey, I ate a couple of big balls and I feel pretty good.
True.
Well, I'm gonna turn the heat down.
Oh, Daddy.
Just pour in a little bit of sauce. It doesn't have to cover the ball. It just has to be enough, you know, to get in there and to allow some steam. Because once I cover this, turn it down, it's going to be creating almost an oven. There's going to be heat all around the balls, and the balls are going to cook. And if you remember back to that chicken video where I taught you how to fill your breast, if you haven't seen it, just go check out the link. But if you remember back to that video, meat's the same way. Just give it a feel. You'll feel if it feels too mushy, it's too raw. Get rid of it. I mean, don't get rid of it, but keep cooking it. But if it's starting to get firm, you're ready to go.
And a lot of times with parties, you're going to be cooking these things beforehand, before you're actually serving them. So, you know, you can undercook these things a little bit if you do anticipate that you're going to put it in the oven or reheat it. So make sure you don't cook it fully through if you're serving it like later on in the day.
And it helps definitely do your best to get the balls around the same size so they cook the same. But the nice thing is, because we have the pork and we have the fat beef, that is going to save us. If we had really lean beef only, they would be dry and they would fall apart, but the pork's going to be meaty.
It's a pork saver.
Alrighty, balls. Woo! Touch the balls. They feel perfect to me.
They look perfect. They're like glazed over from the barbecue sauce. Wood is always great when serving meat. It gives it like some sort of rustic feel. I don't know. Try it out. And we've got some pickles here. These are homemade. You can buy store-bought pickles or look at one of our homemade pickle recipes.
Yeah, Mike's got a great pickle recipe.
And just throw these right on top. And what it does is just adds this burst of freshness that really balances out the meatiness from the beef.
For a good meatball, call Mike and he'll tickle your pickle. So now you take these out, you serve them like we're gonna do tomorrow, and people are gonna freak out. We've gotten called back so many times to do parties for people because they're like, those balls, when I put your salty balls in my mouth, I just knew I had to come back for more.
Ah!
Oh, it's a good meatball.